Meeting in the foyer.
Hello, thank you for meeting us once again in the foyer for another episode of Meet Me, Meet Us in the foyer, bringing you all the latest movie, cinematic, film, everything to do with films, news, reviews, whatever you want, we've got it. So this week I'm joined by the spirited Linda Marric. How are you doing, Linda?
I'm good, thank you. I had to run from central London where I was doing some red carpet interviews at a very swanky hotel in Soho and rush back to record this show. So yeah.
We are honoured, and that sounds quite swanky, as you say. Very. Are you allowed to mention what it was you were?
Yeah, I can mention, but I can't say what I thought of it or anything like that. But I can mention it. It was a special screening for an upcoming Netflix procedural cop show called Department Q. But it's not any Netflix the procedural cop show. It's a show directed and screenwritten by Scott, I can't remember the second name. He's the director of The Queen's Gambit that did so well a few years ago for Netflix and fantastic. He's a really fantastic director and fantastic writer, screenwriter, and really gets characters. And I've seen a couple of episodes of this. I can't really say anything about it. I can't even review. I can't give anything away. But it's a show that stars Matthew Good, Shirley Henderson, Kate Dickie, a bunch of stuff. It's actually written. It's an adaptation of a series of books by a Norwegian writer, like a Nordic noir, and but the action has been moved somewhere else. That's all I can tell you about it.
Oh, right, fantastic. Well, we'll look out for that. So this week we bring you another episode, of course, of Meet Me in the Foyer, where we bring you our movie reviews. I'll bring you a classic movie later on. Linda will be sharing 3 films with us this week, which is very kind of her. And we'll also run down the top 10 films in the box office as we record, with some intriguing placings and a bit of film news as well. So why don't we begin with Linda's first review? What do you got for us this week, Linda?
This week I have the first movie is The Salt Path, starring Gillian Anderson and Jason Isaacs. I almost forgot the name of Jason Isaacs.
That's a long old hike.
Yeah.
Retired, are you?
Open up, Mr. Bailiffs.
Actually.
We lost everything.
Look me in the eye! Coward.
No home, no livelihood. Maybe we should just follow a line around the coast.
Are you walking the path?
We've done extensive tests. All we can do is give you guidance.
People here fight the elements. But when it's touched you, when you let it be, you'll never be the same again.
What? Can I withdraw the £1.38, please?
I thought the house and everything was us, but it wasn't. You should take me back to the shop and get a different one.
Don't want a different one. This is wrong. Just all of it. I think you're beautiful.
I'd like to hear a story!
Walking gives us time to think. When you first told me that you loved me, no one had ever said that to me before.
Leave the tent!
I'm not leaving it! It's where we live!
Look at
Are you ready?
An adaptation of a memoir by Raina Wen, who's an award-winning memoir by the writer, and Gillian Anderson actually plays the role of Raina Wen, and it's a film about a married couple who are after receiving a bad health diagnosis are also left homeless when they go into business with someone who loses all of their money, and so to escape all their doom and gloom, they decide to go and walk 630 miles down the southwest coast past via Devon and Cornwall, and it's really beautifully shot actually.
Mm.
And it just shows their lives as they struggle. They basically have nothing. They just rely on tax credit, which is £40 every month or every week. And it's just their lives as they are sort of getting used to the diagnosis, as well as trying to do something extraordinary with their lives in the circumstances they find themselves. They're both very delicate. They're both very sort of shaken by what's happened to them at their age, because neither of them is a spring chicken. Their children are all grown up and they've gone to university. They've lost their home. They have no one to ask for help, and no one has offered them help. And the authorities have more or less refused to sort of house them. But you get the feeling that they haven't really made that much of an effort to even look into getting the right help for themselves. But yeah, so that's the story of it, and it's really well shot, and it's really, really well acted by both Gillian Anderson and Jason Isaacs. Really good. I found the screenplays a little bit samey, a little bit predictable, and a bit by the numbers. But what I loved about the film is a directorial debut by Marianne Elliott, and she just, I'm in awe of her direction, and the sort of the actually the screenplay was written by Rebecca Linkwit. I don't know how you say her name. I think she's written some incredible stuff. She wrote Ida a few years ago, and I think she also worked on Cold War a while ago as well. She's a fantastic screenwriter that everyone was, but I really cannot remember how to pronounce her name. I'm very sorry. Yes. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a film that looks beautiful, and it's really wonderfully acted. I wasn't super impressed with the storytelling. Not the storytelling, it's more like I just found it a little bit by the numbers. And I think especially if you've read the book, you'd kind of feel like, we're just ticking, this happened and then this happened, this happened. Having said that, I thought it was really beautifully done, and for a debut, you consider me impressed. Yeah, quite good.
Oh, wonderful. This sounds like a big slight, but it sounds a bit like the sort of film that maybe wouldn't blow you away in the cinema, but if you were sort of sat at home and you sort of flicking through the channels and it was on BBC Two late at night, you would just be drawn in and watch the whole thing and enjoy.
Well, the memoir is very popular. Loads of people have read it, and I think it's got its own kind of like a fandom. I feel like if the people who've been looking forward to seeing this in the cinema, they're the people people who read it are the people who are gonna end up going to see it. I just thought it was very, well done, and I think it's the first time I ever saw Jason Isaac play less like he's not a smoothie. He's not, he's playing against type, and I quite like that about him.
Yeah.
I like the path he's taken as he gets slightly older. He's in early 60s now, and he's sort of taking on more roles as a sort of older characters, and I just think he really knocks it out of the park. And Gillian Anderson, obviously, we all know she's brilliant. Yeah, I have really nothing super negative to say about it. I just thought it was slightly contrived, slightly, only so slightly contrived, but other than that, nothing bad really.
You like the salt path he's taken in
Yeah.
his career. Yes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of there's a sort of there's almost a sort of subgenre of British films where someone will go on a journey,
Yeah.
and that makes the film. Because I mean, recently in the last year, I think I've seen the Pilgrimage of Harold Fry.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very much the Pilgrimage of Harold Fry, very much that, you
Or
know,
you've got The Last Bus with Timothy
bus
Spall,
bus. Yep,
or
yeah.
The Last Rifleman with Piers Brosnan.
I mean, it's a grey pound, all rounder, isn't it? It's like these people know who their demographic is, and they're going for it, and I think that's fair enough. And those films are very popular with people 70 and over who, and that's not a slight on anyone. I just think it's good. It's a real genre, and
Yeah.
it's a genre that is very lucrative and good for them. I think it's going to do well.
I wonder if it'll slightly suffer in that market then, because all those films I mentioned, maybe Pierce Brosnan aside, Jim Broadbent, Timothy Spall, they're the sorts of actor that will definitely get my parents interested. Whereas I don't know if Isaac.
Oh, Jason. Oh no, just people love Jason Isaacs.
Yeah, but he's a bit younger, isn't he? I don't know if
He is in his early 60s, and the character he's playing is also in his early 60s. So it's a kind of like I think, to be honest with you, I think the type of person who's going to go and see this is going to be someone who's really enjoyed reading the book and sort of heard about it. And there's been some interviews with the writer on Radio 4, and don't underestimate the power of Radio 4.
Well,
And,
absolutely. Yeah.
So I think people would be interested in going to see that, definitely.
Brilliant. Well, that's your first choice of the week, if you're taking your hard-earned money down to the box office. So why don't we now have a look at the box office top 10 as we are recording. So at number 10 this week is Nariveta, I believe that's called, an Indian Malayalam language action film.
Seen it?
Nope, I can't say.
I haven't seen it because it wasn't shown to the press in the UK. But yeah, I would have seen it otherwise.
They don't care about us. They don't need us. At 9, Bluey at the Cinema is still in the top 10. That's a kids' TV show at the movies. At 8 is Ocean with David Attenborough. That's a adults TV show
Very good.
The movies. Which I'm sure is great on the big screen.
Oh, it's fantastic. It really is.
You've seen that, have you?
I've seen it. I've not seen it on the biggest screen I could see it on. I saw it on a cinema screen, but I think that it's been shown on IMAX as well, I believe.
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah. So I would have liked to see it on that. But yeah, no, I thought it was beautiful.
I believe if you pay enough, they'll walk in front of you and throw a bucket of water over you as well. With that 4D experience. At number 7, it's a Minecraft movie with Jack Black, the game adaptation that I saw this weekend at last. And it gets a big meh from me.
Okay.
I think I chuckled twice in the entire film. It's just a lot of nonsense, and yeah, didn't do a lot. I didn't hate it, but it didn't do much for me, I've got to say. At 6, something a bit more cinematic and superior, Sinners. Bless my soul, some original movie material. Speaking of which, it gets pretty much franchise based from this point on. At 5, Thunderbolts remains in the top 10, the 36th installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At 4, The Phoenician Scheme, the 13th installment in the Wes Anderson universe.
Yay!
It's doing well. I'm looking forward to seeing that, actually.
What number is it at?
That's number 4.
Oh wow, brilliant.
Still good.
So impressed, actually. I didn't think people would go for it, really. But
Really?
this was Anderson. So yeah, that really pleases me, actually.
And it's funny listening to, we shouldn't admit that other critics exist, but they do. Listening to other critics this week, it's always interesting that everyone seems to pick out different Wes Anderson films. Oh, I like this one and this one, but not that one. And it's like, oh, well, I like that one, but not this one and that one.
I like all of them. I'm a big Wes Anderson, completist. I like all of his movies, and I I kind of like some less than others, but I love them all, kind of thing, you know.
It's funny, the critic I was listening to today said that Isle of Dogs is the antidote for Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I found curious because I don't like either of those two films.
Oh, I like both of them. I like both of them, yeah.
At number 3, it's Final Destination Bloodlines, the 6th installment in that franchise, which Linda reviewed just the other week.
Yeah.
That's dropped from number 1 because 2 new entries in the top 2. And at 2, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the 8th installment in that franchise, not at the top.
Excuse me. Who said so? You said it was gonna, like, you know, be number 1.
I think everyone's doing what I'm doing, and just holding their horses, waiting for the cinemas to calm down and then go. And it turns out everyone's waiting. But
oh, right, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because at number 1, another film reviewed by Linda, Lilo and Stitch, the Disney semi-live action remake, tops the charts in its first week of release.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment.
He escaped.
On May 23rd. You sure that's a dog?
Yeah.
Rough. Agent Cobra Bubbles, I need to find out what kind of threat we're dealing with.
You can't take him.
Disney's Lilo and Stitch. Rated PG. In theaters May 23rd.
I'm not surprised in the slightest. And I don't think Paramount are surprised either, because I think they I mean, you know, they're not the same kind of, they're not going for the same kind of crowd. So it's not one or the other, it's both. And I think it just means that tons of people have gone to the cinema last weekend, and that's a really good thing for everyone and for the industry.
And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Lilo and Stitch was still at number 1 next week, because of course it's half-term week now.
Yeah.
Schools are out, the kids are needing something to do, and their parents will drag them along to see Lilo and Stitch before they take them to see Mission Impossible, I would imagine.
And Mission is doing really well in Asia, like really, really well. So yeah, it's doing, the Asian market's just killing it. So, you know, as long as they make their money back and some on top, that's all we want. We don't want Mission to lose.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Right, yes, so let's go back to Linda now and get her to reveal our second possible choice as we head to the box office this weekend. What have you got for us, Linda?
I've got a real treat, a film that's about to be distributed or released by Universal, and it's directed by James Griffiths, and it stars Tom Burston, Tim Key, the brilliant Tim Key, and this tiny little role by Carey Mulligan, who's also producer on this, and it's produced by Baby Cow Films. But Carey Mulligan's also like she gets like she's the producer and executive producer. So yeah.
Welcome to Wallis Island. Can you take a bag? Oh, I'll grab this. No!
Could I get changed? I'm drenched.
You are Dame Judy. Dame Judy drenched. If you need.
Critics and audiences agree.
Maguire Mortimer. The reunion we've all been waiting for.
The best movie at Sundance.
I'm excited. We're literally playing one guy.
Cheese.
Oh.
Is also the funniest movie of the year.
I'm going down to the shop.
Can you shut the door?
Absolutely.
No, I meant...
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm not really used to having guests.
Have you got peanut butter cups?
We have this. You could put it in a cup.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Honey, give me your love, give me your love to me.
Hell of a serve you got, you. I've no one to play with. See, this is the issue.
I know you miss this.
I miss our music.
I've got all my wishes right here. This island. And your beautiful music. Wowzers in your trousers. Goodness gracious me. That's something else. I'm speechless.
Well, you know.
Oh, yes, indeed.
It is a kind of like what should we say? It's a comedy, but with a sad tilt to it. You know, it's a really lovely little film. It's a film that both Tim Key and Tom Burston, who are both really well-known comedians and really very much loved comedians. They both wrote a short film many years ago, 2007, called The One and Only Hope Maguire plays Wallis Island, and it's about the story of this guy who's a very rich guy who hires a member of a now defunct folk band to play on Wallis Island and his name's Herb Maguire, and Herb thinks he's going to play a real gig, but then when he gets to the island he realizes that the Tim Key character, what's his name, Charles, who is a very eccentric millionaire, has hired him just to play for him on the beach. Just for one person, and he's getting paid quite a bit of money. He's getting paid like $500,000 to play. And what Herb doesn't know is that Charles has also convinced the other half of the band to come and play. And the other half of the band is obviously played by Carey Mulligan. Really fantastic role. Such a funny film. Such a lovely, really kind of whimsical, but not in an annoying way. I laughed non-stop. From the first second the film started. I think it's just Tim Key. I just have to look at his face and it makes me laugh. It's just very lovely, sweet story. Yeah, I think nobody really makes these movies anymore. It's a film about realizing that money is not everything, fame is not everything, and that it's what's in the heart is the most important. I just think it's so well done, and there's absolutely nothing. It's really beautifully done. I can't actually remember where it was shot. Possibly, I can't really tell you. Possibly Wales. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I love stories about like a fish out of water stories, people who really reckon themselves, people who really think they are something, and then they are taken away from their sort of pampered lives and introduced into this environment that doesn't care about who they are. But I mean, Charles, as much as embarrassingly. He can't resist making really awful jokes, but we realize by midway through the movie that he's genuinely one of the nicest people alive. He's just someone who doesn't see bad in anyone, and he's been this kind of like a weird fan of this band, and he's the reasons behind why he wants to recreate the sort of the band, why he wants to bring the band together, is not revealed until the end, and it's just a really lovely movie. I have nothing else to say about it really. It's just so sweet, and I'm about to go and interview everyone tomorrow. So by the time you would watch this, I would have interviewed them, and you can go and search online and see what I did and watch the interviews with the cast.
Oh, brilliant! It's I hadn't realised, because does Carey Mulligan sing in this? Does she? Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't. Because she sang in Inside Llewyn Davis, didn't she?
Yeah. And she's married to. I mean, she's a big fan of folk genre, because her husband is in Mumford and Sons. Well, he's the guy in Mumford and Sons. He's the lead singer in Mumford and Sons.
Mumford.
He's not the weird right winger who's got kicked off the band. Just so you know.
Yes, I forgot that. Yeah.
He's the nice guy. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! No, that sounds fantastic. As with you, Tim Key's brilliant. Whatever Tim Key's in,
he's lovely in this. Yeah, really good, very funny. The jokes, like they are. It's like a battle on who can find the worst dad joke. And it is all of them really land in a like a bit of a cringy way, but also not too cringy. It's just lovely. Yeah.
You were quite right. It is filmed in Wales.
Oh, Wales, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I was a bit surprised it wasn't actually filmed on Wallis Island itself, but that's in Canada, so that wouldn't really work. Oh, brilliant. No, I'm looking forward to that. I've seen it referred to as the funniest film of the year, but of course that's in its own promotional
No,
material.
it is. It is. It is very funny. I think it's going to do really well. And just like if you watch the trailer, not all of the jokes. So usually trailers are terrible because they put all of the best jokes in a trailer. This doesn't have all of the best jokes, which is a good thing. It's a good sign. So.
I do like a film about music. It vaguely made me recall Frank, the film from a few.
Oh yeah, I love that movie. Yeah,
such a brilliant film. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Also about a man who goes to sort of discover a band and get them to reform for him, but a little bit more surreal, I would imagine, than this.
Yeah, no, this is. I'd say it's like a straight told. I mean, as I say, it's whimsical, but like not overly whimsical. It's not like heightened reality or anything. It's just a straightforward. So I mean, we start off by thinking someone is a complete wanker, but by the end of it, we realize that he's actually quite a decent person. So yeah.
I also can't help but refer to Timkey in the way that Richard Herring calls him, Timkey, as in one name.
Timkey, yeah, Timkey.
The monkey. Yeah. Brilliant. Well,
Ian Amazon and Timkey.
That's right. Yeah. Well, fantastic. That's our second choice then, as we open our purses and look at the pennies and see if we can afford maybe 2 tickets for the cinema this weekend. Now, it's my turn. And once again, I'm going to bring you a classic film that you can hunt down pretty much anywhere because it's been around a long time. And last week, I brought you a film celebrating its 70th anniversary. This week, I go back even further and I bring you a film celebrating its 80th anniversary.
Wow.
That's right. A film first released in 1945, based on a Noël Coward play from 1941. I'm, of course, talking about Blithe Spirit.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love that film.
Well over 1,000 performances in London alone, and still running. In America, 2 years on Broadway, audiences in all the key cities have flocked to see it. Noël Coward's Blithe Spirit. Once upon a time, there was a charming country house in which lived a very happily married couple.
And you seriously expect me to believe that you weren't drunk?
I know I wasn't drunk. If I'd been all that drunk, I'd have a dreadful hangover now, wouldn't I?
I'm not at all sure that you haven't.
Well, I haven't got a trace of a headache. My tongue's not coated. Look at it.
I've not the least desire to look at your tongue. Kindly put it in again.
Or maybe I should have said they were a happily married couple until...
Is there anyone there who wishes to speak to anyone here? Ah, now we're getting somewhere. Is it Mr. Condamine? There's someone who wishes to speak to you, Mr. Condamine.
Well, tell them to leave a message.
Ought we to pick it up or leave it where it is?
Well, how the devil should I know?
There's no need to snap at me.
I suppose you'd better pick it up.
Leave it where it is.
Who said that?
Who said what?
Well, somebody said leave it where it is.
Oh, nonsense, dear.
I heard it distinctly.
Nobody else did they?
Good evening, Charles.
Ventriloquism, that's what it is, ventriloquism.
Before long, he found himself with 2 wives.
Well, don't be upset, Ruth, dear. We shall adjust ourselves, you know. You must admit it's a unique position. I can see no reason why we shouldn't get a great deal of fun out of it.
Fun? How can you, Charles? You must be out of your mind.
Yes, I thought I was at first, but now I must admit I began to enjoy myself.
Brilliant film. Yes, I've given away the my conclusion there, but yes, it is a brilliant film, and it's directed by certainly one of the greatest British directors ever, David Lean. He of Passage to India and Great Expectations, and of course, I mention it most weeks, Lawrence of Arabia. An absolute genius of his craft. It's a black comedy, as I say, based on a play. It's pretty much a film of a play. They have added in a couple of scenes where they leave the set, but there are actually only two sets in the film, and then, as I say, a couple of external shots. But as I say, it's largely just a stage play shot as a film. It was written by David Lean, along with the cinematographer Ronald Neame and producer Anthony Havelock Allen. So it begins with dialogue from a Victorian sampler that makes me all the more convinced that the plot is a sort of hangover from the Victorian obsession with spiritualism.
Yeah.
That sort of continued into the 20th century and then had a resurgence during the Second World War, of course, quite understandably. So why don't I give you a brief idea of the plot? So, as I say, it opens with that sampler that says, "When we are young, we read and believe the most fantastic things. When we are older, we learn with regret that these things cannot be." And then the uncredited voice of Noël Coward, who plays the narrator in the film, cuts in and says, "We are quite wrong." And then the film begins. And it's the story of a husband, played by Rex Harrison, who has remarried after his first wife died 7 years previously. And he wants to write an article about spiritualism. So he has set up an evening with his wife and another couple who are their friends to come round for dinner. And they've hired Madame Arcati, played by the brilliant Margaret Rutherford, to come round and hold a seance for them. And, well, I'll leave it there. As you might guess, things go awry. Now, the film is basically it's just sort of a farce, slightly screwball.
Yeah.
So it stars Rex Harrison as Charles Condamine, Constance Cummings as his wife Ruth, Kay Hammond as Elvira, who I won't describe, Margaret Rutherford as Madame Arcati, Hugh Wakefield as Dr. George Bradham, and Joyce Carey as Violet Bradham. And as I say, they gather for dinner, and then Margaret Rutherford comes in and pretty much steals the show. She plays, for me, the sort of definitive Margaret Rutherford character that she would go on to play throughout her career, really. She was a sort of late starter, but for me, this might be her best role, maybe along with things, film roles such as Passport to Pimlico or The Importance of Being Earnest. One of my favourites, The Smallest Show on Earth, which I always refer to when we're talking about films. I'm All Right, Jack. And of course, her 4 appearances as Miss Marple, which are largely looked on as not representing the character that Agatha Christie created, but she was strangely Agatha Christie's choice to play Miss Marple, just not in the way that she portrayed her in the films they made. But yes, she's such a wonderful actress. It fills me with joy whenever she's in a film, and in this film she's fantastic. I get the feeling that I mentioned only last week that Michael Redgrave's performance in The Dam Busters made me think of Merlin from The Sword and the Stone. Margaret Rutherford's performance in this makes me suspect that it might have inspired another character in the very same Disney film, Madame Mim, the marvelous Madame Mim, who has a magic battle with Merlin later in the film. And strangely, one of the characters in this film does actually refer to Merlin. Coincidence, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So the play, Coward's play had been a huge success, and he said to David Lean, "Just shoot the play, dear boy." So as I say, there's very little difference between the play and the film. You get a few extra scenes, and the ending is changed from the play, which caused Noël Coward to have a bit of a fit and say that it ruined his best play. But I think it works really well. It's a nice payoff to the film. What really works in the film, apart from Margaret Rutherford, is the snappy dialogue, which is Coward's fine work. There's some absolutely wonderful repartee between Rex Harrison and his wife in the early scenes, and that carries on later on when things get a bit more difficult, shall we say, for Rex Harrison. At one point he delivers the line, if you're trying to compile an inventory of my sex life, I feel it only fair to warn you that I've admitted several episodes. I shall consult my diary and give you a complete list after lunch," which was a line considered in 1945 pretty risque by the censors and was actually taken out of the US release. It actually flopped, really, when it was released originally, but has since gone on to be considered a classic, quite rightly. It's beautifully shot. It's an early Technicolor film, and the way they make, well, I'll reveal a ghost is a key part in the plot, and
Well, I mean, I think people know the kind of the story of Blithe Spirit by now, so
yes, you're
I
quite
don't
right.
think it's a spoiler, really. Yeah,
And the way they shoot the ghost is
yeah,
brilliant. It's such a
yeah.
simple method of
Fantastically
a,
done.
a single color tone, and then just a special light that catches her throughout wherever she moves. It's just so simply done, but it's so effective. And of course, that led to Tom Howard, the art director, winning the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects in 47. So the film actually came out a year later in America. It is basically a comedy film, but there are a couple of moments where it does actually manage to give you the creeps quite a little bit, especially when Rutherford is doing her spiritualist bit. As I say, and Lean has some lovely shots, of course, being the talent that he is. It was remade in 2020 by Sky.
I was going to ask you about that afterwards. Yeah, okay, go on.
Awful, absolutely awful.
Dan Stevens, is that right?
That's right, yes.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens, Leslie Mann, Isla Fisher, Amelia Fox, Julian Rhind-Tutt, and Judi Dench. And even Judi Dench can't save it. She, of course, takes on the Madame McCarthy role. Just absolutely terrible, completely flat. And
Shot in a really beautiful 1930s house, Art
It's-
Deco house, gorgeous house.
yeah, no, the set is fantastic, but that's the only good thing about it, really. So yeah, as I say, it's not a long film. I think it rushes by in about 18 minutes. And Rex Harrison has come in for some criticism. He sort of said he was a bit rusty because he'd just come back from serving in the war himself, as it is shot during the Second World War. And in fact, Rutherford and Rex Harrison's current wife in the film took their roles from the stage into the film, whereas his ex-wife was recast and the producer felt was wrongly cast. He felt that she spoke too slowly and it didn't really work in the film. And he felt that Rex Harrison didn't work either, and he would have actually used a completely different actor. The producer felt Cecil Parker would have been better, who actually, as I say, played the role in the stage play. And you might know Cecil Parker because he appeared in Hitchcock's The Lady Vanishes and the Ealing classic The Lady Killers. A wonderful actor.
Yep, he is.
So that's I mean, that's it. It's a short film, but it's worth watching. I would highly recommend watching it. And if you haven't seen Blithe Spirit, well, go out and find yourself a copy, dear boy. It's a classic, indubitably. And that's it from me and my classic movie of the week.
Oh, I love Blithe Spirit. I think it's such a fantastic movie. It was such a Sunday afternoon, rainy afternoon movie as well. Sort of. I did not really hate the 2020 adaptation. I'm a big fan of Dan Stevens, and I think he's good in everything. And was never going to do well because you can't remake something that people love so much, that still love so much, and it's just a perfect movie, the first one. And it's impossible. It's like saying you're going to remake, I don't know, All About Eve, or it's not. It's kind of silly to even attempt it. Having said that, I would watch Dan Stevens in a play of the film, the play, the original play. I didn't hate it completely. I think tonally it was a bit bizarre, wasn't it? It was like the tone was in the third place.
I wouldn't go as far as to say as I hated it. I just felt that it was so pointless and lacked what Blithe Spirit, what works on is charm. It's just oozes charm, and it's not. There's clever dialogue and there's brilliant performances. It's not sort of laugh after laugh after laugh. It is the charm of the performances and the wit of the script, and the remake had none of that, so it just became a sort of complete waste of your time. I feel sorry for Isla Fisher. I really like Isla Fisher, but she just seems to appear in dud after dud after dud. It's
I've
she's
seen
kind of
cut out of Bridget Jones as well. I mean,
no, it was a shame. I kind of get the feeling she's sort of one of those actors who's sort of third or fourth choice on a casting director's list, and then therefore she doesn't get the great roles that would really push her up into getting even better roles as she goes on. But anyway, that's enough of my Isle of Fisher love. So why don't we hear from Linda and her third offering for us this week?
Okay, so my last film of the week is a film that you can find on Apple TV. It's the latest feature from Core Blimey Guy Ritchie. It's a very, as far away as you can imagine from the usual Guy Ritchie film. This is written by James Vanderbilt. It stars John Krasinski, Natalie Portman, Eliza Gonzalez, Domhnall Gleeson, Ariane Moayed, Laz Alonso, and a very small role by Stanley Tucci. So it's called Fountain of Youth, and it's sort of based around the myth of Fountain of Youth.
Charlotte, how have you been?
Well, that might take a while. We haven't spoken in a year.
Just thought a brother would want to see his sister.
Are you in trouble?
Now, why would you say that?
Do you only call when you're in trouble?
That's not true. There's a power beyond any of our comprehension. One story. 5 continents. Dozens of cultures over thousands of years.
And which genius will explain to me why I'm here?
Keep the cat in the bag until I release it. Yeah? Great.
We're looking for the Fountain of Youth.
Oh, please, no.
What did I just say about the cat in the bag?
Cat wasn't happy in the bag.
It's here. I can feel it.
There's a reason the fountain was hidden. He can't succeed.
So you really think you're gonna find a magic pool of water at the end of this?
I don't know. But I think you want to find out.
This is a bit like National Treasure or The Mummy, but worse, done a la Guy Ritchie way. It's not completely bad because it's set in London, and there are some brilliant sort of action set pieces, the car chases, brilliant fight scenes, and like sort of really fast repartee, some goodish performances. But I just don't understand who this movie is for. So the story is an archaeologist, Luke Perdue, played by John Krasinski, who I absolutely loving everything, and is basically hired by a billionaire, played by Domhnall Gleeson, to find a dying billionaire. So he's got a terminal cancer, and he is looking for the Fountain of Youth, and so that he can drink out of it and live, because he's tried every single thing and nothing has worked. Luke is basically one of these guys who is really good at stealing things, like artifacts, historical artifacts. He's done this. I mean, he's worked with his dad, who is no longer alive, and his sister Charlotte, who's played by by Natalie Portman, and they're not so much estranged, but he's still sort of being the kind of duplicitous sort of a little thief who is very interested in sort of keeping artifacts for himself, but his sister works at the British Museum, I want to say, or no, Tate Britain, I have a feeling. So he makes her an offer that she can't refuse, and he basically gets her sacked from her job by stealing one of her paintings. The reason why he's done that is because he's been sort of researching this Fountain of Youth, and apparently there are clues as to where it could be in several very famous pieces of art. It's very sort of long-winded and like ridiculous premise to the film. So because she's been sacked from her job because of his meddling, she agrees to join his team to go and look for the Fountain of Youth. That's basically what the story is. They all end up in sort of different places in the world, including at the pyramids, where things happen at the pyramid. I don't know why Guy Ritchie is making this movie. I think if Guy Ritchie had written the screenplay, it would have suited the tone of the kind of movie he wants to make. It's not funny enough, and it's not sort of national treasury enough to warrant anyone's attention. But at the same time, I think there is a really good movie to be made here. And fortunately, this is not it. And I feel like if Ritchie had written his own script, I think that would have worked. I mean, I think James Vanderbilt is a brilliant screenwriter, just a really wonderful screenwriter. Just think the two of them, it felt that the tone was very bizarre. I couldn't decide who this movie was being made for. And for me, that's where the big problem is. I also didn't warm to any of the characters, unfortunately. I love John Krasinski. I think the Natalie Portman character is absolutely flat out one of the worst characters ever written for her. She's just has nothing going for her. Let's say I didn't hate it as much as loads of people did, as some people had done. I don't think it's a terrible movie, but if I don't know how much this movie costs, I'm going to have a look. Oh my God, this movie costs 180 million, and it's an Apple TV movie. I can tell you from here that if Apple are paying that kind of money for this, I don't know what they expect. Nobody is going to decide to get an Apple TV membership subscription just to watch this movie. I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong, and I'm sure that we will find out how well it will do, or do we? I don't know if we do find out or not, because I'm not entirely sure whether Apple TV Plus share the numbers of who watches. But I do not understand who this movie is made for. I don't understand why it's Guy Ritchie directing it. I am stumped, as they say. I am just flabbergasted by the whole thing. I wanted to love it, and it looks fun. I wanted to love it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it either. So, go and check it out. It's on Apple TV Plus right now, I believe. Yeah.
It is, because interestingly, I actually watched this on Saturday.
Aha, okay.
And I have to admit, I enjoyed it. It's not great. I totally get the National Treasure comparison, which is a film that's a film that's almost so bad it's good. Because I
love those movies.
I do enjoy the first one a lot, I have to say. But they're not great cinema in any respect, and this does feel a bit lower budget than that. I think probably the 180 million has gone on getting such a good cast together. If you think it's a really good cast, they probably had to pay quite a bit for the location shoots in Egypt, and of course the soundtrack has a few known artists on. I mean, it ends on a very well-known artist. It's quite an odd choice of last song, a bit on the nose, but the song title is very on the nose. Interestingly, I agree with a lot of your review. It's weird that it is set in London at the start, but it's actually shot in Liverpool, which is really odd. All the car chase stuff is in Liverpool, although Liverpool's a great city for shooting. I love John Krasinski, as you do. He's an interesting one in this because he's sort of playing a slightly immoral character, and but he's always got the one-liners, and he's a bit snarky.
He's likable. He's the likable rogue. Yeah.
Yes, and you're bang on with Natalie Portman. Her character makes no sense. She's two-dimensional, and say the film's 2 hours long, an hour and a half in, she's still there in every scene complaining.
I think I could have done without her being in the movie, to be honest.
Absolutely, because she is just there to sort of constantly criticize her brother for doing immoral things, and you think, well, why are you still there? It doesn't make any sense. But
it's bizarre. It's really bizarre.
You've got the great Donald Gleeson, obviously, who appeared in Frank that we mentioned before, and it's convenient that her child, who tags along for no reason, is a musical protege, which pays off later in the film. It's fun. It's big dumb fun. It reminds me of loads of films. It reminded me in one scene of Raise the Titanic, and you've got the Indiana Jones references to any film that has
The Librarian with Noah Wiley.
Yes, that's a good shout. Absolutely, yeah. It's a strange film, but like I say, fun. Clearly setting itself up all the way through for sequels. So I guess that's how we'll know if it's done well, is if there's a second one.
Let's see. I mean, do you think people will get a subscription to Apple TV Plus just to watch that movie? I don't know.
Is that the only way they judge it? I mean, do they not judge
For me, yes. I mean, that's how Disney works. Loads of people have suddenly, after years of not getting new memberships, suddenly because of Andor, loads of people are going back to Disney. So that's a sign that that Andor will get made again because it's bringing in the viewership.
I'd say the cast might be enough. It was certainly enough for me to give it a chance. And the director's name, who, as we've said before, I'm no massive fan of Guy Ritchie.
Very long as well. Didn't need to be that long.
No, that is true. It does go on a bit, but you need to take a drink from the fountain of youth at some point during the film just to keep yourself going until the end. But yeah, no, I would say, I was thinking about this today, a 6 maybe out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars, 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah,
sounds about right. Well, those are your 3 choices plus my classic. So as I say, trot on down to the box office, and we'll meet you in the foyer, and you can let us know what you're going to pick.
I gather you haven't seen Mission yet.
I haven't, no, and I know.
Oh, come on, you're slacking.
I am slacking. You're right. my go-to movie buddy is on holiday at the moment, so hopefully.
Okay, we'll talk about it next week.
Yes. Yeah. So let's just do a bit of film news, and we'll head on into a screening room. So in the news this week, before taking control of the James Bond franchise, Amy Pascal is producing the Greta Gerwig follow-up to Barbie, which is another attempt to launch a Narnia franchise, this time on Netflix. Not too excited, to be honest.
Let's see.
News is that currently in negotiations for a key role is an actress we've already mentioned this week, Carey Mulligan. On hearing that news, I was thinking The White Witch, she would be perfect, but that role has already been cast with the brilliant Emma Mackey. So who knows what Mulligan's going to play, but I'm sure she'll be brilliant in whatever role she takes. Daniel Craig and Cillian Murphy are in talks to star in Damien Chazelle's next movie, which
fabulous.
is
I'm a big Damien Chazelle fan. Did not like Babylon. Sorry.
No, I flip-flop on that, as we've discussed before. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't.
I mean, he's directed one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years with First Man. I just think that movie is just such a classic.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I think in 10 years to come, 20 years to come, people will go back to First Man and realize what a fantastic movie that is. So disappointed by Babylon, but I just thought it was very self-indulgent. I'm really looking forward to the new movie. Please do not let us down, Damien. You do.
And of course, yeah, I mean, I had there was one Christmas where I bought everyone I knew First Man. I thought it was such a good film. But my favorite film of his is Whiplash.
I love Whiplash.
What a film. What a film. I've watched that so many times.
I still think First Man is better than Whiplash.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Maybe it's the musician in me that just keeps drawing me back. Maybe it's just not your tempo, Linda. Not your tempo.
It's just my it's my tempo. That's for sure. It's it's fine. It's such a nothing movie to me. It's a good movie. No. Don't get me wrong. It's a good movie, but it's such a blokey movie. I like Damien Chazelle. I like that. And the rest of his movies. He's really tried to sort of be very kind to his female characters. I felt like in Whiplash it was too blokey and I just didn't warm to it. I loved the movie. I reviewed it favorably. I think when I compare it to his other movies, in fact I see more good things in Babylon actually than in Whiplash, because I just feel like Whiplash is such a one idea movie. Do you know what I mean? Such a one, this something like Babylon and First Man or any of his other movies. I find them really dense, and I really like a dense script. So yeah.
I mean, I see your point about it being a blokey movie. I disagree in that I think what it actually is a film about a tortured artist. And in a lot of these films, as in real life, great artists are pricks. And that's why it's difficult, because you're sat there for the first half of the film feeling sorry for Andrew and thinking that his teacher is a prick, and then you realize halfway through that Andrew is also a prick, and then you're just in a film full of pricks. It's never great. Speaking of which, I watched since we last spoke, I watched A Complete Unknown.
Love that
film.
Love it.
Brilliant film, absolutely brilliant. But again, showing you that sometimes musical genius goes hand in hand with being a prick. But who are we to criticize these geniuses? What else have we got? Oh, more Hunger Games casting news, as both Kieran Culkin and Elle Fanning, speaking of Complete Unknown, have joined the prequels cast for the next Hunger Games film, due out in November of 2026. Marvel fans will have to wait a little bit longer than expected to see Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, as Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars have both been delayed to December 2026 and 2027 respectively.
I wonder why that is. Bizarre.
Yeah, it's a mystery. So the only upcoming Marvel films on the calendar are Fantastic Four this summer and Spider-Man next summer. Alex Garland is set to direct a live-action Elden Ring adaptation, which is a
really? Wow.
Yeah, that's for A24. And Elvis is back in the building, as Austin Butler's new film Caught Stealing from director Darren Aronofsky is due to hit cinemas August 29th and has released a new trailer.
What the hell happened?
Some last call. Drink them if you got them.
Let's go back to your place so you can take advantage of my poor judgment.
I depend on your poor judgment.
I want to know if I can take this seriously.
What do you need to take us seriously?
Come on, kids, get a room.
Sorry, Miss Kitty. Oi!
What the fuck you doing, geezer? Is that the best you can do? I've got to fly back to London. I need you to take care of my cat.
I like cats.
I like dogs.
Hey, is Russ home?
Who are you?
What's the baby, man?
Who did this to you?
La pistola. Either I get what I want, or my pistol stuck from me.
These guys you messed up with, they're scary monsters.
I don't know anything.
Sweep me in the fucking head, you twat! What the fuck did you get me into?
Darling, you got to let me know.
Welcome to Narnia.
Should I stay or should I go?
How much is there? Over 4 million. Shit. Everyone gets a cut. The Russians, the Puerto Ricans, the Hebrews.
What the fuck are you doing? Oh.
It's enough, please. So what happens to me? You're fucked.
You run away from what you're afraid of, then it owns you.
Buckle your seatbelt.
Should I stay or should I go now? Should I stay or should I go now?
What the fuck is going on?
Hasta aquí llegaste, cabrón.
Either we go deeper or we get out.
I don't want out.
Should I stay or should I go now?
I need to know that you're a guy that can take care of his shit. Asshole!
I can handle it.
I don't suppose you're Jewish, are you?
Eat, skinny boy.
You know you're gonna upset her. I like you, Hank.
Should I stay or should I go?
I have to admit, I'm not a big Aronofsky fan.
I am.
don't think I've liked any of his films.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Black Swan? No. Mother?
Well, you named two of his films I haven't actually seen there.
You would hate Mother. I loved it. I thought it was great.
What was the Requiem for a Dream? I don't know that I've hated a film more than Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, okay, fair enough. You don't like his films.
No. I'll keep trying, but
he's a Marmite director, isn't he?
Yeah.
Either love him or hate him. Yeah. Just on another note, I don't know if you've got it on your list. A bit of news: the trio of the Harry Potter have been cast. So I don't know if you've got it.
I hadn't known.
It was within the last couple of hours. So Harry, Ron, and Hermione have all been cast. Let me just tell you who they are.
Is it John Malkovich and
Arabella Stanton, Dominic McLaughlin, and Alistair Strout. Don't ask me who's who, but those are the names of the three actors who are going to play Ron, Harry, and Hermione.
And certainly in the Ron and Harry, they've gone the same route. You know, you look at them and you go, yeah, they look exactly like the first films. Casting, and then they've gone blind casting on the Hermione role. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
I like that. I quite like it.
No, they look good. And I'd be. I can be such a bitch, but I like Daniel Radcliffe, but the early films make me cringe. He's things so
he got
bad.
better. He's become a really good actor now. He's got a lot better, and he's really good in comedies as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, was it Guns Akimbo? And,
the Weird Al movie.
I love that film.
Isn't that so good? It's such a great movie.
And Swiss Army Man, of course.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's such a good actor.
The other one, Horns.
He's found his niche in comedy, but he also does some more serious stuff. But I think he's a really good comedy actor.
No, he is a very good actor. He's a very good actor. It's unfair to criticize child actors too much, but some of those early ones. So yeah, that's hot news, hot off the presses. And my last bit of news for you this week is that we have a new trailer for the latest installment / reboot of the Jurassic Park franchise, Jurassic World Rebirth, from Gareth Edwards, with Scarlett Johansson in the lead role.
Please open the door for me.
On the island we're headed to, 24 species have survived there alone.
The theme park owners did experimental work, leaving only the worst ones here.
see that every day.
Or ever.
Let's go.
If we get this DNA,
Millions of lives are saved.
Maybe we should make this quick, huh? Time to move.
we put ourselves in a place where we don't belong. Survival is a long shot.
That's kind of our specialty.
She's scared. What is she scared of?
Come on, run!
We're not gonna let you get hurt, okay?
Hey!
Then was the source. We found it?
No, it found us.
A film that I really thought they should have renamed it, because you had 3 Jurassic Parks and we had 3 Jurassic Worlds. They should have come up with something else. Jurassic.
Meh.
Yeah.
Jurassic Meh.
That's your review written already.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like those movies. I haven't really liked the last 2, I must say. Whatever that was called with
Dominion and Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
No,
I like the originals. I think they're fantastic movies. But let's see. I have a good feeling about the Scarlett Johansson's in it, and I love Scarlett. I think Scarlett is good in everything, and I trust her to pick a good screenplay. If Scarlett is in it, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I haven't seen her for a while actually. So yeah, she's obviously been picking carefully. And you can see that in cinemas on the 2nd of July, and no doubt Linda will bring us a review of that before it's released. So that's it for this week's episode of Meet Me in the Foyer. Thank you for meeting us in the foyer. Thank you very much, Linda. Wonderful as always. And see you again next week, where you can once again meet us in the foyer, and we'll bring you our thoughts on the latest movie reviews and news, and I'll bring you some old thing that I'll chat about for a bit.
Might even be a review of Ballerina. Let's see.
Ooh. And I already know what I'm going to be reviewing next week, but I won't spoil the surprise. But it's a bit more up to date than the 1940s. So
okay, let's go.
Lovely stuff.
Can you watch Mission Impossible?
Yes, I'll do that, and Bloodlines. Both of those. That's my homework.
Okay.
Take care, Linda. We'll see you again.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's it, Linda. Very good.
Meet me in the foyer.